Good morning, guys. Good morning. It's Monday. Man, let's go through all the games. A lot happened yesterday. I didn't think it was the greatest day of football, not the highest quality of football being played. The 4 o'clock window in particular, those three games were just, you couldn't watch those games. Just horrible, horrible, horrible football. Last night was entertaining at the end. Not the highest quality of football between the Lions and the Texans, but nonetheless, very entertaining. But let's go through it all, see if we figured anything out, recap everything. Giants Panthers, the first game in Germany was as advertised, a terrible football game. Turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. The Giants, I mean, if you bet the Giants yesterday, I feel, God, man, what a disaster Daniel Jones and the Giants are. He'll be benched. There's an injury guarantee for him. If you want to look into his contract, basically, he will not play anymore because if he gets hurt in the last 7 games, he gets a guaranteed $23 million next year. And there's no way he's the quarterback in New York next year. They just can't do it. They're going to run out of, like, they just can't do it. They cannot bring him back. The team is so bad. They have the Tracy running back is good. I mean, he fumbles the ball in overtime. Panthers win. Daniel Jones is done. He's cooked. He probably goes somewhere else. Maybe he can have a career. I really don't know. I don't hate him, but he is just, it's not working out there. Offensive line is terrible. Panthers, on the other hand, they got to feel, they got to feel good. They won 2 in a row. Now they get a bye week. They're going to get the Chiefs when they come back off the bye week. So give credit to the Panthers. They win. New coach, new quarterback. Owner's a jackass. But besides that, kind of feel good for Bryce Young getting a win there. So Panthers win. Giants are done. Giants are headed towards drafting a quarterback, and Daniel Jones is probably headed towards, I don't know. Who knows where he ends up? Feels like I really don't know. I was about to say just I don't know, Saints maybe. Maybe goes somewhere. I don't know if a team wants to let him be the starting quarterback or he just ends up being the backup somewhere. He's still youngish, so who knows where Daniel Jones's career goes, but it is not going to be in New York next year as the Panthers beat the Giants, effectively ending the Giants season. Joe Flacco is making me mad. Joe Flacco is pissing me off. Joe Flacco is throwing the game away. He threw it away in the first half, really, just throwing interceptions to Buffalo. Buffalo cruises. They really win 30-13 as Flacco sneaks in a touchdown at the end. But losing faith here in the Colts, losing faith for sure, as that seventh seed in the AFC, I'll get to that in a second, is wide open. The Colts have a shot at it, but really bad loss for them. And Buffalo, got to give them credit. They're playing the Chiefs next week. You thought maybe they'd overlook it. They didn't. They beat the Colts. They beat Flacco. They get a different animal next week. The game of the week is Buffalo and Kansas City, 4 o'clock. Cannot wait for that game. Chiefs are going basically for the 1 seed in that game. So they beat Buffalo, they'll get the 1 seed. Buffalo wins, and next thing you know, Buffalo still has a shot to get the 1 seed. And then the winner of the Steelers Ravens would still have a shot, or the Chiefs just shut the door and win. So we'll find out. Get to the Chiefs here in a second. Actually, let's do the Chiefs now. Chiefs. Okay, so what's the best way to compare what's happening to the Chiefs? I don't have an analogy here because Brady's Patriots, I hated them. They were really hard to like. I think, like, from a football standpoint, you can hate Mahomes, I guess, if you just want to hate somebody to hate him. But he is a really likable guy off the field. I mean, I don't know. None of the things he does bothers me. He's a gamer. He just is. He is just a gamer, and yet they're going to lose yesterday because the Broncos outplayed them. Bo Nix, you could even say they outcoached them. Bo Nix's Broncos, I was on that. They were, I didn't pull the trigger on them. I wish I did, but yeah, they basically win the game. They get a 30-some-yard field goal to win it. And if you look at the replay, it's amazing what happens because the Broncos kicker, it's like, I think he would have had that kick blocked by his own offensive lineman. Like, the ball barely got up in the air. It's a really bad kick. Chiefs block it. Chiefs win. They're 9-0. They're going to go at Buffalo. They win that game, they're going to go undefeated. That's my gut. I think if they win that game, I know they have the Texans and the Steelers back to back at the end of the year, but I don't know. Something is brewing over there. Part of me thinks Buffalo's going to spank them this week, but not betting on that. We'll find out. The Chiefs beat the Broncos. The Broncos have the inside track though for that 7 spot. It's gonna be them, Cincinnati, maybe the Colts, but looks like the Chargers kind of pulled ahead, and they're gonna take that 6 spot and that 7 spot. Yeah, who wants it? Maybe Cincinnati. maybe Indianapolis, but it looks like right now the betting favorite would be Denver. Although Denver's going to play Atlanta next week, that should be a really good game. Yeah, tough loss for the Broncos, heartbreaking loss. Find out a lot about the Broncos next week. If they beat Atlanta next week at home, I'd pencil Broncos in for the playoffs. But that's gut wrenching loss there to the Chiefs, and they got to play the Falcons next week. So tough one there. Patriots, again, I got that one right. Just didn't pull the trigger. Bears suck. I should have just bet the under on the Bears total. Drake May is better than Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, I heard somebody say this. It was a great, great point. Caleb Williams looks like he's playing tennis in playing football. Like he looks like he's playing tennis on a football team. And the point the guy was making, I forget who said it now, but the point that he was making is he's like an individual player. Like he won't just take the easy thing. He won't just throw the ball and make it easier for the guy to run after the catch. You know, when you watch Brady was the best at it. These 6 yard, 7 yard dinks and dunks, but it was always leading the receiver to get an extra 4 or 5 yards. Edelman, stupid freaking running backs, Falk and Brandon Bolden and all those son of a guns that would just come out of the backfield and Brady would hit him for 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 7 yards there. But it would turn into 9, 12, 14 because he was leading them into it. Caleb Williams can't do it. He's a loser to me. I thought he was a loser at USC. I hate guys that I feel like at a certain age you can just tell if you're like a man's man, like a team guy, or you're just one of those guys that, something's just off. And we all have those people in our lives where it's like, I don't want to hang out with that guy individually. Like, I just don't. I need other people around as like a buffer. That feels like Caleb Williams. Going out to dinner with him feels like a nightmare. He'd be looking at his phone, looking in the mirror, just so full of himself, paints his nails. Look, do whatever you want, but on a football team, I don't know. That's just not for me. He's not for me. And the Bears suck. The Bears, they're losers. They play as soon as they get down, basically quit yesterday against the Patriots, made the Patriots look legit. I don't know if they are. Drake May's legit. They can't block for him, but he's still figuring out how not to turn the ball over. He had the one bad interception, but it didn't cost them. Patriots dominate. Bears are cooked. And the franchise is kind of up in the air. I'm not sure exactly where they go. Should have just kept Justin Fields. So Bears lose. I don't like the Bears at all. Vikings, Jags, got that one right. Jags suck. They just do. The Vikings find a way to win. That's the type of game that's a playoff win for the Vikings, right? Not pretty. They're tired. They played a lot of national televised games. I think it was 3 weeks in a row. So they just win this game, go home, get the win, be done with it. That's just life in football. Not every game's going to be pretty. I give the Vikings a lot of credit for just holding on and winning. Jacksonville is an embarrassment. Travon Walker, there's got to be certain punishments that like deter people from doing things. And then there's other times where you got to remind somebody to do the right thing. If you drop the ball before you go in the end zone, I'm cutting you off the team. Like it's too many times it's happened. We have YouTube. How many more players are going to drop the ball before they go in the end zone until the coach is like, I'm cutting you now. Mike Singletary style, where he told Vernon Davis to just leave on the sideline. That's what I would do. So I need something to make sure you never do this again. And then what Travon Walker did for the Jaguars, I don't know if I can cut him. It's probably a little extreme, but I'm doing benching him next week, 100%, fining him, humiliating him, doing something. He gets a personal foul at the end of the game that ruins the game. The Vikings are going to punt. It's 4th down. There's 50-some seconds left, and the Jags get the ball back. And he's just, I don't know, like looks like he just took some sort of, I don't know. It looks like he's on drugs because he is out of control. The whistle is blowing, and he's just punching the ball out. And then they still don't call it until he wants to get in the guy's face. And then finally the ref's like, I got to call something here. So that's how the game ends. The Jags are a disaster. They draft him instead of Hutchinson. They have a coach who rather like drink on Friday nights apparently than like come up with a game plan. I mean, Doug Peterson, the fact that he beat Belichick in a Super Bowl is just mind-boggling because he has no idea what he's doing on the sideline. Jacksonville, God, what a terrible game that was. Vikings beat Jaguars. Vikings going to the playoffs. Jacksonville certainly not going to the playoffs. I don't know what Jacksonville's going to do. Mac Jones, I mean, seriously, is somebody so confused about how good they are? I mean, they scored that touchdown to go up 7-0. He's going nuts early in the game, and I'm just like, what? No perspective there. So Mac Jones and the Jags lose. I don't know how the Falcons lose. Maybe they shouldn't miss 3 field goals. That's probably a good way to not cover my 3 points is to miss 3 field goals. God, Falcons. Yeah, they somehow made the Saints look competent and Derek Carr, and it just. Oh, I want to go into a corner and cry watching that game. That was just so frustrating. Um, Kirk Cousins is got to be the most frustrating court when he's not playing well. He just looks like he's 3 steps slower than everybody. Like, I just don't understand. Like, he's half asleep. And when you bet on him and he's not playing well, it's really frustrating. They just can't make any field goal. Whatever. I don't feel like talking about that game. That ruined my afternoon. Falcons lose to the Saints somehow. This game I get dead right, so that made me feel good. But the Bucks couldn't pull it out. They played right with the Niners. Probably the play of the game, could be a top 5 play of the year. Is Baker just like stiff arming Nick Bosa somehow? It's just mind blowing. Mind blowing. It's like when adrenaline takes over all of a sudden, and man, Baker's this Bucks team is 4-6, and they easily could be 6-4, could be 7-3. They're losing really tough games. They lose to the Niners at the buzzer last night. The defense just couldn't close the door. Baker goes down the field, and he's done this now multiple times, and they just cannot close the door. Don't write off the Bucks. Don't write them off. Big win though for the Niners. Big win for the Niners. They get the Seahawks at home next week. The Seahawks cannot beat the 49ers lately. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it this week, but if they don't, my bet's cooked there for Seattle. If they do, all of a sudden it makes things really interesting. But I think right now it would be trendy today to put the Niners back in that NFC Championship game as they find a way to beat Tampa. The game of the day was exactly how I thought it would end because the Steelers always do this. They just find ways to win, especially when they got. I said it was going to be 50-50 crowd yesterday. Pittsburgh, it felt like 70-30. Those damn yellow towels just rolling around as Pittsburgh really outplayed Washington, and then still Washington had a chance to beat them. And then Russell Wilson finding magic, Mike Williams and George Pickens down the field. This feels like that Seattle offense back when Russell was, one of the elite players in the NFL, where he's just launching bombs, and he does it. I mean, you could argue he does it just as good as literally anybody else in football. Like those moonshots where he's just dropping the ball at the right time, at the right spot, and Pittsburgh's got the right receivers to do it. Cannot wait to hate Pittsburgh this week as the Ravens play them. It's going to be, the Ravens Squealers have had a history of classic games. It's probably hard to rank them. That'll be fun to do this week. Maybe I'll go through the top 10, just rank them. But this one's going to be up there. It's going to have a ton of impact on the season. We're going to get another shot at them at home at the end of the year. But Pittsburgh's rolling right now. They had a chance to play Jaden Daniels, which is the closest thing to Lamar. So they will be somewhat prepared for him. But you cannot prepare for Lamar. But if there's one team that's been his kryptonite, especially in the regular season, it's been Pittsburgh. They if you know how to rush him on the outside and keep him in the pocket, and that's what Pittsburgh's done. We'll see if they can stop. The Ravens are rolling right now, but Pittsburgh got it done yesterday. They beat Washington. I thought that was the win that put Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Like that was a really big win for them. Washington, they're going to get Philly on Thursday night. That'll be must-see TV. I don't know. I felt like there's not a good loss, but the way Washington lost, I think they can look up at the sky and be like, you know what? It is what it is. We got little things to get better. We got to tighten up here, tighten up there, and we'll see if they beat Philly. I'm not sure if they will. Philly rolled Dallas yesterday. Philly hasn't played a really good team in a minute, especially a dynamic offense. They played Cincy's offense and actually held them down. We'll see. That should be Thursday night. Looking forward to that. Yeah, those were the 1 o'clock games. These 4 o'clock games, I mean, obviously, I'm not breaking any news. If you were alive yesterday, you saw it. I don't know. It was a good time to clean the basement, go outside with your kids, do something besides watching football because we can start with the Chargers and the Titans. That's the game I got wrong. Of course, I feel like an idiot taking the damn Titans, but thought they were up 14-13 at halftime. Herbert looked like they got the strip sack for the touchdown. They take that away from them. So that was a huge momentum killer. But then the Titans got a field goal. So it was 13-10. And then they lose by 10. So Chargers played the way the Chargers were going to play. The game basically went how I thought. They just couldn't get that extra score. So they lose by 10 instead of closer. I thought it'd be closer. Levis made a beautiful pass early in the game, and it's just, I don't know. Just annoyed about that. Chargers closed Chargers are going to get the 6th seed at this point. I think there's 6 AFC teams with the Chargers winning yesterday and Pittsburgh winning yesterday that I feel like are locks, right? You got Buffalo in the East, Houston in the South, 2 in the West. Yeah, 2 in the West, Chiefs and the Chargers, and then 2 in the North, Ravens and Pittsburgh. And that leaves the 7th spot. I got Cincinnati. I got Denver. Still not giving up on the Colts. If the Dolphins win tonight, maybe. But it looks like those 6 have really separated themselves. Excuse me. We'll figure out who the 7th seed is. But the Chargers win again yesterday. The Titans, yeah, they did not win. So Titans lose. They're just whatever. Annoyed. I shouldn't have just left that game alone, but whatever. Took it, and it is what it is. Chargers win and Titans lose. The other 2 games, I don't know how much time we're going to talk about. Eagles and the Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys have to blow it all up. They've been flirting with this now for like 4 or 5 years, where they've just been a really good regular season team, fall in the playoffs. And I guess they just figured that would happen again this year, put on cruise control, and now it's over. They're not going to make the playoffs. They're an embarrassment. The team is really weak. They have a few solid players to build around going into next year, but I'm not sure. I thought yesterday, I think most people that were watching that game, especially early at 7-3, then 7-6, like, all right, they'll battle. And then when they just give up like that in the second half and get blown out, there has to be big changes. It's too many blowouts in a row. Dallas gets killed. Philly wins. Philly wins. Yeah, they do. We'll see. Philly, Washington on Thursday. Not ready to eat crow yet on Philly, but if they beat Washington on Thursday night, I'm going to begin to have to just eat it there. But we shall see. The other game this game probably pisses me off the most from last night, which is, the Cardinals beating the Jets 31-6. I spent way too much time saying, all right, I'm just going to take the Cardinals -2 and be done with it, and talk myself out of it. So I just figured Rodgers, they went down the field in the first half twice, had to settle for field goals. So they're stuck on 6. And then that's it. Go for it on 4th downs. They can't get it. Rodgers just looks washed and just so annoyed that I just didn't take Arizona -2. It was my favorite game when I first looked at it during the week. It's like, man, I think Arizona's going to beat them. And then the more as the week went on, I'm reading, and the Jets offense feels so good about themselves. And then they closed out Thursday night in impressive fashion when they beat when they beat the Texans. So I just figured it'd go over. It's on pace to go over. It's like 56.5 is the live, and like halfway through the first half, and then it falls. That was just that 31-6. Cardinals look good. That NFC West is going to be very interesting down the stretch as the Rams face the Dolphins tonight. Line started off as Rams only favored by 1. I think it's now up to Rams -2.5. Dolphins have all their guys back, but I think people are just sick and tired of betting on the Dolphins. They're not covering any games. I don't think they've covered anything this year. They not a good football team, but the Rams, they have so many holes, and their offensive line hasn't been great. Their advanced metrics don't look good. I want to watch the game tonight. Thought the Rams being the Seahawks last week in Seattle in overtime was like an awesome win for them, but also an exhausting win. They went through a lot to get that W. Should be fun tonight. I'll probably have some props in the Cup, Puka, Kyron Williams. I like the Rams offense. Always going to like the Rams offense, but the defense is still a little shaky. And Tua, it's Monday night. I just have a feeling the Dolphins will put up some points, so that'll be where my bets is leaning towards the over. And the Texans blow it last night. Gotta give the Lions credit, man. Like, the Lions, it's a game you're not supposed to win. They win. Texans are lucky they're in the worst division in football because it's a bad loss. They're now 6-4. Colts are 4-6. Titans and the Jags are just irrelevant. So Texans probably doesn't kill them, but Stroud wasn't good. That's back-to-back weeks on television. It just hasn't been good. National television. He missed Dell. He's wide open. That would have probably clinched the game. Instead, it's an interception. And the Lions turn into a 50-50 game. Texans miss their long field goal. Lions make theirs. Lions win. And the Lions are rolling. They're the huge favorite now to win the NFC. You want to make an argument for some other teams, you can. But the Lions, I think they've pulled away as the clear favorite in the NFC, whereas the Chiefs have to deal with the Ravens and the Bills and the Steelers. So credit to the Lions. Credit to Dan Campbell. He's doing a great job. He's a extremely great role model as a coach, always positive, always intense, willing to learn. I mean, you can't say enough good things about Detroit. Looks like they're headed to hosting that NFC Championship game, and will that be the difference? As they lost on the road to San Francisco last year, and they would have beaten them. I mean, they were better than San Francisco last year. They just fumbled at the end and they couldn't close the door. And then remember, they beat the Chiefs to start the season. So they beat the Chiefs, right? They beat the Chiefs, like Chiefs, I think it was like 21-13, 21-17. They threw all those interceptions. The Lions were really tough, and they were headed to getting that rematch against Kansas City. So who knows, man? Maybe the Lions are the best team in football. The way they run the ball in the red zone is extremely impressive. Golf had a lot of interceptions, but there was a couple fluky ones yesterday. One at the end of the half that doesn't really count. Yeah, man, can't say enough good things about the Lions. So that's that for the week. I went 2-3, annoyed, just annoyed there. 2-3 with the Falcons, really letting me down. It'd be nice if the kicker could make a field goal, but such is life. I look forward to the game tonight. And yeah, I'll be here in the morning with J Mark to break it all down. And just to look, it's I guess obvious. I don't talk about this very often, but it's obvious that anybody that's listening consistently, my philosophy and my plan here moving forward, just so you guys understand, is I don't give up on anything. Like I'll pivot, I'll adjust, but I don't give up on anything. So the reason why I don't say at the end of these videos, like and subscribe and all that stuff, and you don't see a ton of marketing, is because that's just not where my energy's at. I am working with a couple of bigger companies looking at some partnerships for after this football season. I just decided that anybody that's listening, anybody that's here, I appreciate you guys being here. And it's just not really in me to do this full campaign of marketing to bring people in. And it's like this fine line of encouraging people to bet on sports with also betting on them responsibly. And yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that I love being here. I appreciate anybody that's still listening. And yeah, there'll be a lot of good things that'll happen. It's just in the works right now as I try to figure out the best direction for the company to go. But definitely feel good about the folks I brought on. It just hasn't grown the way I think I initially wanted it to a few months ago. But yeah, things happen for a reason. So just wanted everybody to know that I appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, so if you need anything, I know I haven't said that in a while, but just message me, call me. If there's anything I can help with, want to talk things out, let me know. We're all in it together here, trying to figure out how to be on the right side of these games. And as I always say, if you watch these games, they all pretty much end up in the 50-50 category, where you're like one play here, one play there, especially in pro football, could go any which way. So if you're on a winning streak, don't get too cocky. If you're on a losing streak, don't beat yourself up. It's really hard to do. Yeah, so have a great day, guys. I'll see you in the morning, and it's Hate Pittsburgh week. So definitely looking forward to that. Really looking forward to that. I cannot stand them, their fans, the stupid yellow towels, all of it. So, all right, have a good day, guys. See you tomorrow.